what's up and welcome back to my channel. Now today I'm going to be showing my graphic novel collection, which consists of mostly Batman, but I do have like a few like Spider-Mans in here too as well. So yeah, I'm surprised I have never done anything like this before, and I have like a huge, I ain't gonna say huge collection, but I do have like a lot of like graphic novels, Now I'm gonna try to stay like in alphabetical order, but there are certain issues with certain graphic novels where the title is kind of, kind of off, and it's kind of hard to put it like in alphabetical order. Plus I want to keep the ones that actually have like a continuing story, so like if it's like a trilogy or it's a part two, I keep them together. But I'm gonna try to stay like in alphabetical order with the ones I do have. And some of them are so like old that I even have them like in plastic too, like covered up in plastic, But yeah, I'm finna just get on into these right now. Now the first one I want to talk about is All-Star Batman and Robin, the Boy Wonder. So this is one of them right here, as you can see. This is like one of my graphic novels. I went with this one first though, because it is labeled like All-Star. So I'm just going and just keep on like going through them, cause I have so many of them, Then up next I have Batgirl Volume 1, Batgirl of Burnside. I think this is the only Batgirl that I do have, too. Then I also have a Batman, A Death in the Family. Of course, this is a legendary story right there. I'm sure everybody knows about that one. And then here's The Amazing Spider-Man, Death of the Stacys, which collects the Gwen Stacy storyline, when she was killed and so on, the Green Goblin. Then here's another Spider-Man I have, the Amazing Spider-Man, Kraven's Last Hunt, which collects like the tale of like Kraven the Hunter, where he actually defeated Spider-Man in that story, but he committed suicide at the end of it, And here's Spider-Man Maximum Carnage, like the whole Maximum Carnage tale right here from like the 90s to the whole tale. Then here's one known as Spider-Man versus Venom right here, as you can see. So that's like some of the Spider-Man ones that I have that I collected, And then up next I have Batman and Robin, Batman Reborn. As you can see, that's the Damian Wayne version of Robin, and Dick Grayson is Batman. Then up next, Batman and Son. I'm trying to stay in alphabetical order, Then I have Batman Arkham Asylum. Then now here's one I didn't finish reading, Batman 89, which is like a continuation of Tim Burton's Batman, but like in a graphic novel form. I haven't finished reading this one, but I did have this though, because I know they have like another part of it now too. But as you can see, this is it. So I did have that particular story. I never reviewed it. I was planning on it, but I had never finished reading it yet. So yeah, I might still get out a review one day. I'm not too sure. And here's Batman, the Black Mirror. Okay. Then Batman, City of Bane. And then Batman, The Court of Owls, Volume 1. Now here are some where they're like a trilogy or they're in volumes. And here's Batman Volume 2, The City of Owls, because that went with the Court of Owls. So that's 1 and 2. Now one of these even came with like a collectible mask too. Well, a couple of them I have. And here's Volume 3 of Batman, and it's called Death of the Family. As you can see the Joker, like, you know, he cut the skin off his face. I always thought that was pretty cool. Now, I wanted to touch on these two right quick too. Now, Batman Volume 1, The Court of Owls, I had got this as like a collector's thing, which came with like a mask. Like the Court of Owls, like mask, like the mask that they wear. So as you can see, this is it right here. Because this particular thing had this book with it too as well. So I always thought that was pretty cool. I just wanted to show that off. Then also, like the one with the death of the family with the Joker skin right there. This also came with this right here, this particular collector's box, which has like the mask on the inside. I always thought those were like pretty cool too, you know. I always thought those were like awesome, like that. Cause I know they had one with the Harley Quinn that I was always planning on getting, but I never got to it. I could still get it, you know, but I just have never gotten to the Harley Quinn one. Then up next. And of course, this is definitely like a legendary tale here. I'm sure everybody know this one. Here's Batman: The Dark Knight Returns. Like Frank Miller. Yep. Of course, you know that's a legendary tale right there. Very good book too. Then also have Batman: The Dark Knight Strikes Again. I wasn't really a fan of this one, but here's this particular version. Then also have Batman, The Dark Knight Master Race. The Master Race, as you can see right here. Then also have another Dark Knight Returns tale known as The Dark Knight Returns, The Last Crusade. Because this is actually before The Dark Knight Returns. It's like a prequel to the series. Up next, I have Batman Gotham by Gaslight. I also have like a smaller version of this too as well. I might show it off because I know it's around here somewhere. Yeah, I think this is it. Yeah, cause I think this came from like the video, if I can remember correctly, of it, like the movie version of it. So yeah, I also have like a small version of it too as well. Gotham by Gaslight. Then I also have Batman Hush right here, as you can see. I'm probably even willing to do like the movies too as well, the animated movies. Thinking about, and here's one now. This used to be, I probably still would consider it, but I think as time went on, other tales have went through it. But Batman: The Killing Joke. This was actually like my favorite. But like I said, as time had went on, you know, I believe something probably, I'm sure I could put something ahead of this, you know, that I enjoy much better than that. Then, of course, here's another one that's like kind of legendary from my opinion, because I remember growing up in the 90s, and these were like very hot, like the Nightfall storyline. Here's Batman Nightfall, Volume 1. As you can see, Bane right there breaking Batman's back. Awesome cover. Now, I also have a Batman Nightfall Volume 2, Night Quest, that's what they call it. Then also have a Batman Nightfall Volume 3, Night's End. These are like massive graphic novels. These are easily like the thickest of all the graphic novels that I have. Like the Nightfall like storyline, like the size of them is just massive, because it collects all those stories from like the what was that, like the early 90s, like the Nightfall storyline, which was like massive at the time. And then up next, here's Batman: The Long Halloween. And this is another one that has like another, you know, set of stories. Well, you know, like the story continues. That's why I'm gonna keep it going like this. Cause here's Batman: Dark Victory, which is connected to The Long Halloween, right there. Then I also have Batman: Hunted Knights. Now I also have the Catwoman, but I have her pushed down further. She actually is a part of like this these stories too, written by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale, you know, were created by them too. Like Catwoman When I'm Wrong. I have her too down there, but she's like down there, so I'll get to. And here's another one, Batman Rip. Now here's one that I have like in plastic. This one is known as I'm going to take it out because it was kind of open. This is Batman, Son of the Demon. Now this is actually, but it wasn't really Damian Wayne. This was actually when we learned about Bruce Wayne and Talia al Ghul having a kid, which in the future turned out to be Damian Wayne. You know, this is considered kind of like non-canon, this particular tale. You can see Ra's al Ghul right on the back and Talia al Ghul right on the back too. But this was, well, the idea of them two having a son, which will become Damian Wayne, was actually debuted in this particular tale. Then also have Batman, the Three Jokers. Now this one is kind of relatively new. The Three Jokers. Okay. Then also have Batman Under the Red Hood. Because some of these we know were adapted into like animated like films, and some even like the live action films have borrowed some of these elements too, you know, from these stories. And here's like another very legendary tale, like on the level of Batman: The Dark Knight Returns. Here's Batman Year One. Another very legendary tale, an awesome book too. I really enjoyed this one too a lot. These are like some greatest type of collection of stories from like Batman. Like here's like the Golden Age of Batman Volume 1, which I haven't reviewed, if I'm not mistaken. And now this is one I haven't finished reading. The Golden Age of Batman. I haven't finished reading this one. It's kind of thick too. I had that like for years too. Now here's one that's I have this since the 90s. Here's Batman, the Greatest Stories Ever Told. And this is volume 2 too. Yeah, I had this since the 90s, this particular book. That one was actually given to me too. Then also have Batman, the Greatest Stories Ever Told right here. And this was even volume 2. Then I have the Greatest Joker Stories Ever Told right here. As you can see. Then here's one known as Batman The World. Now this one is kind of new. It's called The World. It's like a collection of stories from like Batman fans like all around the world, which I thought was kind of interesting. Like who all get their own take on Batman. Now here's one I thought was pretty cool too. The Joker, 80 Years of the Clown Prince of Crime. So this basically like collects like the Joker's like some of his like greatest stories, even like his first appearances in this tale right here. Like the Joker, but like his tales are in this particular book, which celebrates like 80 years of the Joker, which is pretty cool. Then you also have 80 Years of the Boy Wonder, which is like Robin Redder. I still think that's an awesome cover too. Now this collects like tales of like Robin's, like, you know, in the comics and so on and everything like that. Like 80 years of like Robin, you know. So I think that was a pretty good tale too. Well, a pretty good collection, because they're basically like a collection of stories. Then we also have right here the Joker War Saga right here. And even this was kind of like relatively like new. As you can see, the Joker War Saga. And here are some other ones that's on the way. And these are like other like, you know, I guess you could say characters in Batman. Like here's Catwoman, book 1. Now this collects like the Catwoman stories from like the 90s right here. I always thought that was an awesome cover too, of Catwoman right down the front. Then this collects like the stories from the 90s. So this is basically like a collection. Not really a collection, it just actually collects all like her entire like storyline from the 90s. And here's Catwoman book 2, as you can see right there. I have this one in plastic. And again, it's collecting like the stories from like the 90s, like the Catwoman stories that were in the comics. Then we have Catwoman When in Rome. Awesome book. Now this is probably like the Long Halloween storyline by like Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. So it's pretty cool. Then also have Nightwing, A Night in Bloodhaven, and this is from the 90s. This particular Nightwing graphic novel. Because this even shows when he first went to Bloodhaven and so on, like when Bloodhaven, the city itself, debuted. So I always thought that was pretty cool. And here's another Nightwing that I got. Volume 1, Better Than Batman. That's what this particular one is called. And it's a Nightwing tale. These are actually only two Nightwing graphic novels that I do have. I was planning on getting more into his, but I had to stop right there though currently. Then here are some Robin stories, like Robin Volume 1, Reborn. Now this collects all the Robin stories with Tim Drake as Robin from like the 90s. Like the Tim Drake version of Robin. And these are like some awesome reads. I really think these are fun. And they're long, you know. Because you put them all together, they're thick. Look how massive this is. So this is Volume 1. And he's focused on the Tim Drake version of Robin. And here's Robin Volume 2, Triumphant. Again, it's focused on like the Tim Drake version of Robin from the 90s. Then also have a Volume 3, Solo. Like that cover too, it's awesome. Then there's also a Volume 4, Turning Point. And these can be fun, like if you really sit there and go through them, because like the story is so long, you know. And then you also have a Volume 5, War of the Dragons. And again, these collect like the Robin tales with Tim Drake as Robin, or except Tim Drake version of Robin. Now here are some other ones I want to touch on. Now these, I kind of feel like these are really issues because they're so thin. But I'll go ahead and do them though, because they work thicker than like what a usual issue would be. Now at first I have the Batman 1989 comic book. I even got it in plastic, as you can see right here. I guess I could take it on out. Now I've had this since the 90s. I got this when like the movies were going, but I always kept it in plastic. I guess you can say this is like a graphic novel. But yeah, I've had this since the 90s, you know. Then I also have Batman Returns right here too. Even it's in plastic. Now I got this when the movie was out. I got this particular comic I'm holding right here, like back in 1992. That's how long I've had this. 'Cause I remember I couldn't wait to see like Batman Returns. I got this at around that same time. Then I also have and here's another one I got when the movie was out. Batman Forever right here, as you can see. I got this during the time when Batman Forever was out. That summer when the movie was out. That's when I got this particular comic right here. So I guess you can look at these like these are like graphic novels because they were like thick, and that's how these were when they came. You know, they were like that. Then I also have this one right here, the one that everybody despises. They can't stand this. And I still believe this movie was underrated. Batman and Robin, like the comic adaptation. That's what those were too, like official comic book adaptations. And even this I got when the movie was out, like that particular summer. That's when I got this particular comic book, or movie, official adaptation of the movie. I know that's what they call it. Then I also have this right here, Batman Mask of the Phantasm. Now this was in the VHS cassette tape of Mask of the Phantasm. When it came on videotape, it had this right here, like the adaptation of the movie. And I must admit, I didn't even know that it was in the tape when I had this. It was in there for years before I realized this was inside there. I'll never forget that, you know. But yeah, I do have that too. Now I was always planning on getting like Batman Begins, like the Christopher Nolan films, like in comic book, because I never got to get those, you know. But then I also have this right here. This is and even this in plastic, because this is another one I had since the 90s. Here's Spider-Man versus Wolverine, where they actually have like a fight. They don't really fight until like kind of towards the end of the story, but they really like team up and have to like, you know, pursue like some kind of I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't read it, you know. But I always thought it was a pretty good read, and I've had this since the 90s too. I remember getting this when I was like a kid. So I've had it like a long time. And here's one known as Batman and Spider-Man, where you have like a crossover with Batman and Spider-Man. I know it's kind of hard to see because, you know, Batman from DC, Spider-Man from Marvel. But yeah, it was a crossover with these two. It was pretty cool read too. Then also have Batman and Judge Dredd right here too as well. Then I have this one right here known as The Dark Knight Returns, The Golden Child. Now this one is kind of new. And this is just really like, I guess you could see an issue, but I kind of keep it in this. And it's kind of, you know, because it kind of continues like The Dark Knight Returns storyline from Frank Miller, you know. Okay. Then I also have these right here too as well. These were like, I think these, if I can remember, came from like the movies and stuff that I have sometimes. Like this one is Batman Battle for the Cowl. So that's why it's like small like this. Then also have, like I mentioned earlier, Batman Gotham by Gaslight. Then also have Batman and Harley Quinn Last Call. As you can see, it's based on like the animated versions of them from like the 90s. Then also have this one right here, Batman the Man Who Laughs, about the Joker. Then here's one like the Adam West version of Batman and Burt Ward as Robin. Batman the Return of the Caped Crusaders. I think this came with the movie if I can remember correctly. Then I have Justice League Dark right here. Then Suicide Squad Hell to Pay. Then Teen Titans Blinded by the Light. Like I said, there are like a couple other ones, but they weren't really like, you know, graphic novels that I can touch on. But I just leave it at that. But yeah, that's all like the collection of graphic novels that I do have. I didn't even count how many I had though. Okay, there's my graphic novel collection, which consists of most of like Batman. You know, I had a few Spider-Mans. Now I did want to go into reading his, you know, but it's like Spider-Man, it's like you don't really have that kind of, I guess they have like his stories collected, but it's something there with his. That's why I haven't really went into his. And that's who that's who I originally started out reading in comic books was Spider-Man. It used to be Spider-Man that I really read a lot, like back in the early 90s. I always loved Spider-Man. To this day, Spider-Man should have been like my all-time favorite superhero, but like, throughout the years, it became Batman. But it was always like Batman, kind of like even then. But you know, I eventually went into like reading his comic books and so on. You know, but I was always a big fan of like say the animated series with Batman. You know, like the Batman movies and so on and stuff like that. That's what made him definitely like my all-time favorite superhero, and Spider-Man like my second favorite superhero. But yeah, this is my collection. I still plan on reading like some more graphic novels from like, you know, based on Batman. Well, even like other, you know, like heroes like Spider-Man, more of those and stuff like that. But I just haven't like gotten to them yet though. Because there are still some ones I definitely want to pick up. Even like newer ones, you know, there are ones I know they are working on, you know, too. That's coming too that I'm definitely going to pick up, you know, but they haven't like made them yet. But yeah, this is like my collection right here though, you know. But yeah, oh yeah, this is a viewer of mine that had asked me to make this particular video too. That's why I decided to go and make this video. They want to see my graphic novel collection. I don't really have like no mangas or anything like that. But yeah, so this is it, you know. But anyway, please leave a comment and subscribe too as well.